This story is a work of fiction, inspired by real events. Names, dates, locations, and identifying details have been changed or dramatized to protect privacy and enhance the narrative. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental or used fictitiously. This content is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. It does not aim to glorify crime, promote violence, or pass judgment on real individuals. Viewer discretion is advised. Some scenes may contain mature, disturbing, or triggering content. What you are about to watch could have happened anywhere, to anyone. It's inspired by real events. Whispers of truth, buried beneath layers of fiction. We've changed the names, the dates, the locations, but the emotions, the betrayal, the fear, those are real. This story is not meant to accuse, only to reveal, to make you question, who do you really trust? If stories like this keep you thinking, long after they end, hit subscribe, smash like, and drop your theory in the comments. Now watch closely, before the truth disappears again.
Every 11 minutes, somewhere in the world, a woman is murdered, most often by someone she trusts. Some of these killings happen slowly, through years of control, manipulation, and silence. But others happen fast, too fast, leaving behind only confusion, shock, and a single haunting question. How does love turn into fear overnight? This is not just another crime story. It's a look inside the darkest corners of the human mind, where faith, obsession, and delusion collide. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay with us. Because what you're about to hear will challenge everything you think you know about love, sanity, and salvation. To understand how everything unraveled, we have to go back, to the moment before the storm. Before the headlines, before the whispers, before the truth was too dark to believe. It began, like most tragedies do, with a love story that looked perfect. Liana Brooks had always moved through life with quiet empathy. As a nurse, she noticed the smallest details others overlooked, a patient's trembling hand, a colleague's tired eyes, the unspoken fear behind a child's quiet cry. She didn't just see people, she understood them. Her compassion was instinctive, her warmth subtle, and it drew people in without effort. Caleb Warren entered the small town like someone borrowed from another world. A preacher, calm eyes, measured words, he carried an air of sincerity that seemed rare and almost impossible to question. Their first meeting was brief, a smile shared over the counter at a local cafe, a casual conversation about the weather, a laugh over a spilled coffee. But something lingered, invisible yet persistent. Both remembered the fleeting moment long after it ended. Over the following weeks, chance meetings turned into small conversations, then into longer walks and shared coffees. Caleb remembered the tiniest details, how the sunlight fell on Liana's hair, the way her lips curved when she laughed, the softness in her voice when she spoke of her patients. Liana noticed him noticing, and each glance, each smile, made her heart beat a little faster. She felt seen in a way she hadn't before. Their connection grew through small, seemingly insignificant gestures, a hand offered in passing, a shared joke in a quiet hallway, laughter echoing over paperwork. Every meeting, every word, built trust and familiarity. They began to finish each other's sentences, to know each other's routines without speaking. It was effortless, yet profound. Caleb, however, carried a subtle intensity beneath his charm. He observed not just her actions, but the patterns, the rhythms of her life. He catalogued small habits, the tilt of her head, the soft sighs she let slip when tired. Liana remained blissfully unaware. For her, it was the blossoming of love. For him, it was the start of something more complicated, more consuming. In the quiet moments, when they walked through the town park or shared late evening coffees, there was laughter, warmth, and an undeniable connection. But beneath it all, an undercurrent of focus, a lingering intensity, began to thread itself through Caleb's mind, a subtle prelude to the tension and darkness that would follow. Their bond was genuine, tender, and fragile. A love that seemed ordinary, simple, even perfect. The kind that makes the shadow of what is to come all the more devastating. The wedding was intimate, sunlight spilling through the wooden pews, dust motes dancing in the air like tiny golden sparks. Liana held Caleb's hand, feeling warmth and safety in a way she had never experienced before. His voice was soft as he whispered little jokes and quiet reassurances that made her smile without effort. Each glance, each gentle touch, felt deliberate and tender. The day was full of small, meaningful moments. A shared laugh over a minor mishap with the flower arrangements. The careful adjustment of a veil, Caleb's hand lingering just a second longer than necessary. Simple gestures that spoke volumes about devotion, attention, and care. Yet beneath the surface, there was a subtle intensity in Caleb, a quiet observation of every movement, every reaction, cataloging what he saw with meticulous focus. That first evening in the cabin felt calm, almost surreal. Liana prepared a simple meal, and Caleb helped without a word, brushing a stray strand of hair from her face, his fingers lingering slightly on her wrist. Each touch was gentle, considerate, yet charged with a tension she could not perceive. Desire and something darker began to intertwine, a quiet storm beneath the surface. They shared stories, laughter, and soft music drifting through the cabin. The intimacy was real, tender, built on trust that had developed over weeks of careful attention. Every smile, every touch, strengthened the bond between them. Liana felt loved and safe. Caleb's mind, however, began to twist these ordinary acts into patterns, an internal narrative shaped by obsession and fixation. The first 48 hours of marriage were a delicate dance. Moments of warmth and affection were shadowed by the silent tension in Caleb's mind. Every gesture, every glance, every laugh became a piece of an intricate, unseen puzzle only he could perceive. Love and obsession began to intertwine, laying the foundation for the tragedy that would follow. What appeared as devotion and gentle intimacy hid the first subtle whispers of fixation, a hidden current beneath the calm waters of newfound love. It was the perfect beginning, beautiful, tender, and dangerously fragile. Morning light spilled through the cabin windows, soft and golden. Liana stirred awake to the gentle rustle of leaves outside and the distant song of birds. Caleb was already kneeling by the window, whispering prayers under his breath, the quiet devotion seeming almost serene. She paused, watching him, feeling a sense of calm that made her chest tighten with a strange mix of comfort and curiosity. Breakfast was simple, shared across a small wooden table. Liana's laughter filled the room when she spilled a little coffee, and Caleb's hand brushed hers as he helped clean it. The touch was fleeting, yet it lingered in memory, a spark of warmth. Each gesture, each glance, became a thread weaving them closer, moments of connection that felt effortless and real. But Caleb's mind worked differently. The cat, silent, ever-present, had taken on a new, unsettling significance. In his thoughts, it represented her most private and intimate part, and he began to see tiny imperfections as evidence of something corrupted. Desire swelled, yet obsession held it in check. Every laugh, every movement, every moment of intimacy was scrutinized, catalogued, and twisted into patterns only he could understand. Afternoon walks through the nearby woods were ordinary yet charged with tension. Liana laughed as branches brushed her arms, Caleb held her hand with careful attention. To her, the touch was comforting, familiar, safe. To him, every step, every tilt of her head, every glance became a trigger, a test of obsession and control. He longed to be closer, to touch fully, yet the fixation restrained him, creating a push and pull of desire and compulsion. Evening arrived with golden shadows stretching across the cabin. The first 48 hours of marriage had forged a fragile equilibrium, love intertwined with obsession, trust entwined with compulsion. The warmth and laughter Liana experienced now coexisted with a subtle, almost invisible tension. She remained blissfully unaware, trusting the man she had chosen, while Caleb's mind quietly edged toward the darker path that would soon claim them both. In the quiet, intimate moments, shared smiles, whispered jokes, gentle touches, the invisible thread of obsession began to tighten. Love and fixation danced together, setting the stage for the tragedy that would follow. Night fell over the cabin, thick and silent, carrying with it a stillness that pressed against the walls. Liana leaned back into Caleb, laughter lingering from a shared story, warmth seeping through the space between them. She felt comforted, safe, and loved, the kind of love that makes the world outside seem distant and irrelevant. For Caleb, the same warmth stirred something far different. The cat, in his mind, the symbol of her most private part, had become a source of imagined corruption. Each laugh, each gentle touch, each look was filtered through the lens of obsession. Desire battled with compulsion, affection entwined with fixation, creating a tension that tightened with every passing hour. He moved deliberately. A strand of hair brushed from her face. Fingers lingered on her wrist. A whispered comment on her smile. Every gesture seemed tender, almost caring, yet they were watched, analyzed, catalogued by a mind unraveling beneath a veneer of calm. Liana remained unaware, immersed in the intimacy they shared, unaware of the invisible storm building around her. Sounds in the cabin, the creak of the floorboards, the flicker of candlelight, the distant wind in the trees, heightened the tension. Each sensory detail seemed ordinary, yet in Caleb's mind, it was amplified, interpreted, warning him, urging him, guiding him toward control and action. Hours passed, and the first 48 hours of marriage, filled with laughter, warmth, and trust, had become a delicate equilibrium. Love existed alongside obsession, trust alongside fixation. The invisible thread tightened imperceptibly, pulling ever closer to a breaking point. And in that quiet cabin, shadows stretched long across walls, the golden light of the evening fading to darkness, carrying with it the silent promise of catastrophe. The warmth of love remained, fragile and luminous, but beneath it, desire had collided with obsession, a collision that would soon shatter everything. The morning revealed the cabin in chilling clarity. What had once held laughter, warmth, and intimacy now lay silent, shadowed by the aftermath of a calculated act. Liana Brooks, full of life and trust, was gone. The space she had filled with light and laughter was replaced by stillness and the faint, lingering echoes of what had transpired. Investigators approached the scene with meticulous care. Every detail was documented, fingerprints on the counter, fabric fibers disturbed, subtle signs of struggle, the positioning of objects that revealed premeditation and intimate knowledge of the space. The forensic team moved slowly, piecing together each fragment, reconstructing the narrative hidden within the chaos. Neighbors and friends arrived, drawn by concern and curiosity. Shock etched their faces. One whispered about how kind and devoted Caleb seemed, how ordinary the couple appeared. The contrast between outward charm and inward obsession became immediately apparent to the investigators. Caleb's demeanor remained eerily calm during questioning. Words carefully chosen, gestures measured. To anyone observing, he seemed composed, even remorseful. But in his mind, the act had been a twisted sense of purification, an attempt to correct what he perceived as corruption. Every micro-movement, every pause, every subtle glance reflected the meticulous, obsessive pattern of his behavior. Forensic evidence spoke volumes: overturned chairs, the angle of fingerprints, minor smudges in the kitchen, each element catalogued, analyzed, and interpreted. Investigators slowly uncovered a story of intimacy, trust, and obsession spiraling out of control. The first 48 hours of their marriage, filled with warmth, laughter, and trust, now loomed over the scene with cruel irony. Love had existed, real and tangible, yet it had been twisted by fixation into tragedy. Every step, every gesture, every nuance contributed to a story of obsession, betrayal, and calculated violence that would haunt those left behind for years to come. Morning light fell softly on the town, but the shadow of what had occurred lingered everywhere. Liana Brooks, vibrant, compassionate, and full of life, was gone. The space she had occupied, the warmth she had radiated, now existed only in memory. Caleb Warren faced the full weight of the law. Investigators meticulously presented the evidence: trauma patterns, fingerprints, fibers, and behavioral markers of obsession. Each detail told a story of premeditation, intimate knowledge, and a fixation that had turned love into a deadly force. Friends and family struggled to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the man revealed by the investigation. Outwardly charming and devoted, he had harbored a dangerous obsession, a fixation that eclipsed empathy, trust, and morality. Testimonies in court painted a portrait of this duality, warmth and love on the surface, compulsion and fixation beneath. The courtroom was a stage for truth. Expert witnesses detailed Caleb's obsessive tendencies, psychologists explained the cognitive patterns that led to the act, and forensic evidence meticulously reconstructed the timeline of the first 48 hours of marriage. Every word, every analysis, every photograph built the case that turned intimacy into evidence, warmth into tragedy. Caleb was convicted. The law had delivered closure, yet the emotional scars remained. Friends, family, and the small community struggled with grief and disbelief. The laughter, the shared smiles, the gentle touches of those first 48 hours, moments of genuine connection, now served as haunting reminders of how quickly love can be twisted when obsession takes hold. The story of Liana Brooks and Caleb Warren is a chilling reflection of human complexity. Desire eclipsed by fixation. Trust weaponized. Warmth transformed into tragedy. And though justice was served, the memory of what was lost continues to echo, a stark, enduring reminder of the fragile line between love and obsession. The story of Liana Brooks and Caleb Warren leaves a haunting mark, a reminder that the line between love and obsession can be devastatingly thin. Trust, intimacy, and warmth, the very foundations of human connection, can be twisted by unchecked fixation. Let this story serve as a caution. Emotional vigilance is crucial, and obsession can exist behind even the most charming facade. Awareness, boundaries, and empathy are vital tools in protecting ourselves and others from hidden danger. If this story impacted you, subscribe and turn on the notification bell to explore more real-life tales of crime, obsession, and the human mind. Every story matters, and understanding these tragedies helps us navigate the fragile line between love and danger.